There's a series of different events that really happen, all individual of each other, that cause 5810 to kind of come together.
We were looking for just ways that we could, I think, do more, and we wanted to really be involved and connect with people.
We didn't know exactly what that meant or what that looked like, but we knew that we could do more with what we've been given, and we felt that other people wanted to do more but didn't know exactly what that meant necessarily.
We all read the book Radical. For a while we'd been talking about, what as guys in our 20s, what is ministry for the Lord, and what does our work for the Lord look like?
One of the difficult things I think for a lot of us as Americans, we want to do stuff but we don't know how. So really we just started shooting some emails around and started asking people what we could do.
Through a number of circumstances, we were directed to this group who's working with orphanages in Kenya, and really began to have a burden for Kenya and for orphans.
So from there, the Lord's just opened doors, and we've had the chance to get over to Kenya and go on a trip.
The purpose of 5810 is really, I think, to just give people an avenue to pour themselves out for others. We really tried to break 5810 down to three areas or values that we kind of hold to.
The first is that it's gospel-centered. We feel the reason we're doing this is because of what Christ has done for us on the cross, and that we've been given so much. So we want to stay gospel-centered in everything that we do.
The other one is pouring out. Pouring out comes from the verse in Isaiah 58:10, if you pour yourself out for the hungry and satisfy the desires of the afflicted,
then I'll cause your light to shine in the darkness and your gloom to be as the noonday. And again, for us, as we're thinking through and trying to come up with a name, to us that really stated really what our goal was, in just showing that this was a biblical response to the Great Commission, that is biblical to pour ourselves out for the hungry and satisfy the desires of the afflicted.
And then finally, just a shared ownership. This is a group of people that we want to get together who are moving forward with one purpose, with one goal, and that is to proclaim the gospel, to proclaim the Great Commission, and do that in a fashion that is seen all over the world.
I think when we first started 5810, when we first got the idea, okay, hey, we're going to move forward and do this. There was a lot of excitement, a lot of enthusiasm, but we realized very quickly that we needed to get over there and see it with our own eyes.
We wanted to make sure we visited Kenya before we started telling people, hey, come help out with this project, come do this, because without being able to see it, we didn't want to just take that all on faith. We wanted to make sure that we could really explain to people what was going on.
One of the things that we realized we need to do is we need to start looking at what sponsorship looks like and how we can help the children over there. So there's one orphanage in Mukaa, Kenya, who had ability to fit more children in the home, but didn't have the sponsors. So our first objective was to raise sponsorship for 23 children for the Mukaa orphanage.
And that really helped us out a lot because it forced us to be able to learn what the sponsorship process looked like. It forced us to ask questions that other people are going to be asking, and it forced us just to get things ready for the launch of 5810.
Is to catch him. All right, if you can touch him, yeah, you catch him. All right, good. All right, go, 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 go.
The main purpose of our trip to Kenya was to find a home that we could work with. Shared ownership is one of the main things that we're looking for with 5810. So with shared ownership, one of the things we want to tie people in the United States over here is not only with the children, but with the community over here that is working with a specific home over in Kenya.
And we made the rounds, kind of a big old road trip around Kenya, where we visited some different homes that at one time had children in them and no longer did because they lost funding.
Visiting other potential sites, seeing what those looked like, what the need was, and what made the most sense for us to work with, who to work with, and really get a passion for the people and for the ministry over there.
We did find a home to work with while we were over in Kenya. It's the Mulongo Children's Home. The Mulongo Children's Home has a capacity for about 225 kids. There's approximately 600 kids on the waiting list.
We were able to spend a full day at the home, in the community, and with Festus, who is the manager of the Mulongo Children's Home, and Festus is going to be handling the day-to-day operations, and it was great to get to meet him and see his heart. We're just going to do a quick walkthrough. We're going to start in the kitchen, and we're here at Mulongo. We're going to walk through the kitchen, storage, going through the dining hall.
And Ben, real quick, if you can see here while you're outside, a lot of the needs that are done is just the roofing. a lot of the tin needs patching, and a lot of, you'll see rain has come through and messed up a lot of the ceilings. So that's a lot of the need here. We'll come in here, see the kitchen. Malongo has 3 cookers and some additional cookers over here, so that feeds a lot of children, up to what, 200 children, correct? So this is Festus, manager of Malongo, right? So here's our brother here.
Thank you.
All right.
Here's the dining hall. Some of the tables and chairs. Also study in here. Devotions. One of the big needs would be the tile roofing here. And again, the bigger issue is that the rain is coming down on the tiles from the tin roof. So really, you have to address the tin roof before you can really address the tiles. You see how here's like the middle courtyard. Right there in front is the bathhouse for the boys and girls dormitory. Here's the boys dormitory right here.
This is the first floor door, boys dorm, and Festus, what, you think this could probably hold maybe, what, 20 kids, 20 boys?
Yeah, this is for the younger kids, right?
Yeah. Again, in pretty good shape, needs some paint, the ceiling addressed, but it'll be good. Okay, so here, still here in Malongo. This is their athletic field, so we're pretty excited about that. You could possibly, again, good place for soccer, volleyball, whatever games they want to play, so to have that spot's pretty special. On the other side of the hedgerow is also a big field where they can play different sports. Again, as you can see kind of down here, there's some open space, and again, that's kind of a place that we're thinking maybe some sustainable acts like a greenhouse, possibly some livestock, different gardening. The key to all that is getting water here. You can see over here is a big cistern that the municipality would get water from the municipality for a cost, but the plan would be able to either do a borehole or figure out a way for the catch basins to work to collect all of the different rain to go into some of the different cisterns that kind of comes off the roof and move that into one of the different cisterns.
They also had stuff in the front for chicken coop. He started that process and didn't get down it, but
Yeah.
he had some of the wires and fencing that had that plan in place at one point. Never came to fruition.
Lots of potential here. Needs a little paint, little work. One of the neat things about Malongo was that it's on the campus of an old missionary compound, so there's still a church and a seminary up and running. So we were able to meet with the principal of the seminary and the pastor of the church, and he was so excited to think about the possibility of the children's home coming back. There was a lot of people that we met over there that you very quickly, although you didn't share a similar background, similar, certainly different walks of life. The fact that we had the heart for orphans and the bond of Jesus Christ, you very quickly became attached to them.
There was the kids that we saw that weren't in a children's home. They were living with their grandmother. They were living with an aunt. They didn't have anything. That's one group of children, and they impacted you, and you got to see the need. Another group was the actual children that are being sponsored, to see the difference between the kids that are out and don't have a children's home, they don't have food, they don't have education on a consistent basis, and to see those compared with the kids that we were able to help in a children's home, it was amazing to see that we were changing lives.
I mentioned Festus, who'd be the manager of the home of Malongo, and his heart to come back and help the children. We spent a day, we had Victor, who is another manager at another home. He would spend a lot of time with over the week, and just to see his heart, someone who, again, could have, from earthly standards, maybe been a little bit more successful, but just cares about children and wants to pour out his life. You have so much here in America, and they might not have as much, but their joy and the love that they have over there you can't help but be impacted by it.
I think the most eye-opening thing for me in Kenya was more so just a reminder of what is important and what the need is. There's more to live for than just things of my own pleasure, whatever that might be, whether that be living for success, or living for other people, living just to have fun, whatever it might be. There's more to life than that. And when I can get to a third world country or someplace that has less, all of a sudden a lot of things that I think are important are just not as important.
We were visiting the Katui baby home, and while we were there, it's a home for infants through about 5 years old, children whose parents either died from AIDS or abandoned them, and we're just being able to visit the home and see what it looked like, how it operated. And And while we were there, a worker from the community brought in a little baby who was about 6 months old who had been abandoned, who had just been left. And to see that actually happen while we were there and the impact the home had in the community, what would have happened with that child if there would have been no Tui baby home?
It was heartbreaking, but I knew that we were going to see some of that going over. What I probably didn't prepare myself for was the fact that despite the fact that they had zero earthly goods, that they literally had nothing, they had the joy of the Lord. And they were joyful and they were thankful that we were there, and they were thankful for that another day that they had to live. I think one of the biggest things that I would relay to the people back here in the States is that as much as God has blessed us with resources which we can encourage and help those in Africa, God has really blessed Africa in a different way in that they can bless us.
There's a huge need in the United States, but I think there's something about connecting with people in a different culture that it helps expand the way that you think about even people here in the States.
We all have certain skills and abilities that God has given us, and it's really our duty, it's our calling to spread the gospel through whatever abilities that we have.
I've heard a pastor say, what you want to do for everyone, do for one. So you want to change the world, you want to help feed those kids, you want to take care of those people that have less, we'll do that for one person.
I would encourage everyone to, get outside their comfort zone and to make an effort to travel, whether it be to Africa or some other place, but to go and just to fellowship with believers around the world and worship the same God, the God that we serve, with them, but in a very different cultural setting, was very encouraging and eye-opening.
5810 is not about Jeremy, Ben, and Jordan. It's about the group of us. So it's about people that want to get involved. We have a guy here today filming this, Tim Bjorgen. We have a guy that did our website, Michael Knott. We have a graphic designer, John Pope. We have his brother who's helped us hook us up with that, Ben Pope. We have people that are sponsoring kids, Randy and Amy Mullins, Dawn and Gil Cologne, Phil and Laura Vaughn, Mike and Candace Romick, just to say part of it. Though that is the group of 5810.
There's also a financial need. There's a need to sponsor these children. It's a monthly cost, but it's very minimal at the end of the day when you think about it. And there are other costs as far as different, using again your abilities to go over there, or financially that people can help out. But just how people can get involved is just pray about what God would have you do, whether it's 5810 or some other way. Just using your abilities and your resources that you have.
We all have to make a response to the Great Commission. And what's your response going to be? What does that look like? And how does your talents intersect with the glory of God?
We've been blessed by you. And we're going to go home and tell everybody about how great you are and how much we love you. And we look forward to hopefully seeing you again someday.
Sinsa. 나무고 나가면.